All right. Hi, everyone. This is Elena with Glass Factory, and we are here today with Sam Roman. And I'm so excited to speak with her about her alt rock project.
Awesome. Yeah. So my name is Alexa. My last name is San Roman, and that's what I'm going by for my artist name. I am a guitarist, singer, rock musician from Long Island, New York.
Let's talk about your musical background. So, prior to the current project that you're working on right now, you were previously in the bands Love Robot and Air Sound.
Yeah.
And then so prior to these two projects, how did you kind of like very first get involved with music?
So when I was 15, I guess, was around the time when I first was realizing I wanted to be a musician. My older cousin played guitar at the time, so I really looked up to her. I was enthralled by wanting to pick up a guitar, and I was watching movies. I mentioned this many times, but Freaky Friday was definitely a big inspiration for me. So that was when I first started to want a guitar. I asked for a guitar for Christmas. My grandmother got me one, and then from
Oh.
there I was just like obsessively plucking around, not really playing very well, but nonetheless I kind of just taught myself how to play guitar using the internet. And then I did have some lessons for a second, but mostly just looking up songs that I really liked online to try to learn.
From the previously mentioned projects, you took a 5-year hiatus and now you're back as a solo project. What felt right about like 2022 to debut that shift?
For me, it just worked out this way. I had taken a break from my last project right at the time when like a lot of things in my life kind of fell apart. I had just gotten out of a relationship. I had lost my grandmother and then a slew of my other grandparents. And then, a lot of people in my life, there's a grief and loss. And it was just this time where I kind of introverted, and I just decided I needed to take a break from everything going on with music and just kind of, put my head down and be there for my family and pick up a lot of pieces around me. And during that time, I was able to write this record kind of scattered as I felt different emotions, as I was going through different things. I kind of was able to go into my little cave and write some songs throughout that time period, that by the end of it, I was getting to that place where I was, starting to heal and everything was starting to be okay again. And I had all these songs from this time that was super difficult for me. And that kind of fire from when I was 15 kind of re-sparked itself.
Mhm.
And I was able to circle back to being like, okay, why do I love music? All the convoluted stuff along the way kind of all dissipated. And I was just left with that original feeling of, what, I just want to play and I just want to perform. And so it all kind of lined up to be this timing. So here we are. I'm get
Yeah.
back on the horse.
Love that. And it sounds like your family has been very, very like crucial to your musical journey from like your grandma buying you your guitar to having to take a step back because you wanted to be there for them. So are they like excited that you're getting back into things?
Definitely. I mean, I work with my sister Sam a lot. She's basically does like all my photos from a very young age. I was like, hey, Sam, come to the basement and take a picture of me, like from MySpace, like back when we were really young. And then
Yeah.
from there, it's kind of evolved to her being a part of like every band I was ever in, and, taking promo photos for everything. So, like, when I kind of dipped into the hiatus, by the
Mhm.
time I was ready to get back in front of the camera too, I think she was probably the most excited, like, hello, where have you been? Like, we got to do stuff. So,
Yeah.
and, everyone else in my family, of course, is as well, like, very pumped that I think I'm being back to my genuine self. It's kind of I feel as though my calling.
So mentioning, your upcoming record, Messy, you've released 3 singles so far, and
Yes.
your first release, which was like, this new era for you, Stay Where You Are. When I listened to it, it felt like you were kind of comparing, the growth that you were experiencing against the stagnant nature of whoever you were kind of addressing the song to. So, can you talk about the inspiration and meaning behind the track?
Like I said, I was going through all these things that kind of caused me to look in the mirror at myself and say, you need to work on you right now. There's things that you're going through and things that you do, and that you need to be a better person, and you need to go, dig and go for figuring out what you're doing. And I felt like while I'm struggling and picking apart myself and going to therapy and figuring out, how to be a better version of myself, I look around and I see people around me that just don't do that and never will. And it's something where like you kind of want to shake people and be like, come on, like you could be so much better than you're being. And they don't want to take that step. So
Mhm.
that's kind of just like broadly what the song is about. And I know that I'm sure everybody's kind of felt that way about somebody around them. So, just screaming out that frustration.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely liked strong hard rock sound that you had, and it makes sense that you were like, there was frustration going into it, and I bet that just felt like super, super cathartic to kind of like
Yes.
get that all out in a
Yeah, it's
track.
always been that way, for me, just to be able to just scream it out as loud as I can, as gritty as I can. By the time I'm done with the singing the song, that like frustration I walked into it with kind of just dissipates. It's definitely meditative.
Love that. So then your title track, Messy, was the next release that you had, and it does have a little bit different of a sound than what we just talked about. It's like more nostalgic, very early, I want to say like mid 2000s through like 2010s, early 2010s sound. Why did you decide to choose a different approach to your sound?
So I kind of went into this record basically with the mentality like, I don't care what song sounds like what, as long as it just comes out of me naturally when
Mhm.
I feel like putting, like writing. I really wanted to throw away that feeling of I should write music because people want to hear this. Like I threw that away and was just like, I want to write whatever I want to write when I want to write it. And that Messy came out because that, I don't know if you can hear kind of the Freaky Friday influence, but that's certainly like more so that vibe. And that's a piece of me too, right? So that's like deep down in there, and that's circling back to the beginning. And I think a lot of these little moments on the record have this nostalgic feeling because I was really digging into that for this whole writing experience. So yeah, it just kind of came out. And it was funny because my little cousin was with me, and he was asking about how to write a song. So I was like, well, first you kind of start here, and I opened my computer and I just went do da do da do, and I was like, and then you take something like this, and I looped it, and I was like, then you kind of pick up a guitar and then you kind of noodle around. I was like, and I was like, I recorded that, and then I just kept going with it, and I was like, this is kind of a cool song. And then after that, I was like, I'm gonna keep it, and I just made it my song, and then and there it was Messy. That's like what this record was for me, like these little moments where I'm not going into it sitting and writing like, okay, from start to finish, here's what I'm making. Like it's just these moments that happened that I'm like, all right, this one, and then this one, and then all these need to go together because they were during this time, and
Mhm.
that is the thorough line for me, is about the time, the lyrics, and like the content.
Like you went into it kind of wanting to really make a record for yourself. When Messy does come out, like the full album, what are you hoping that your listeners will like take away from it?
Because I went through this like time period of growth and grief and loss, I know that it can feel very isolating when other people probably go through the same thing. And I
Mhm.
thought about, maybe I write all this music and no one ever hears it. And then, my friends, family, everyone reminds me, like, no, you should put it out there, even if nothing comes of it for your career or whatever it is. Because if one person connects to one song on that record, that because they're going through something, I just feel like that's one of the most beautiful gifts you can leave behind. That's really all I want from this. Like I said, I just left that mentality of wanting like other people to care. Now it's just like, I
Mhm.
needed this. I needed to write this. And here it is for whoever needs it too. Because all of us have that song or that album that we put on when we're going through a hard time.
Yeah.
And if that's my record for somebody, then that's all I could ask for.
I appreciate, I think, especially over the last few years, I think so many artists have been a lot more authentic with their approach to their music and how they want to connect with their audiences. So I think it's really special that you're not interested in like the views, even though obviously like the views and the listens are great, but I think it's really special that you're interested in like that connection. Just grow your audience, I think, in a very authentic and like raw manner.
Right. I mean, I would love nothing more than a packed out show full of people there to scream these words with me because we're all doing that cathartic yell. You know what I mean? Everyone's got to get that out of their system.
And then your most recent track, which was released just last week, Rain Cloud, it's definitely more like upbeat versus like the first two, I feel like, you know, pop punk. What was going through your mind when you were writing Rain Cloud?
So I definitely have like this soft spot for like just kind of pop, like I don't know, like little pop songs, I guess. So sometimes when I write stuff like that, um, I wonder if I should write it, like I should put it out myself, or if I should just sit on it and give it to someone else or something like that. But I mean, I just threw that to the wind again here because I was just like, I like this song. This is a song that I like. So when I sing it and I'm just by myself vibing, I wrote it on acoustic guitar first. So it was just me and an acoustic, and it just kind of came out. And we obviously produced it to be what it is now. Um, but I felt like my lyrics kind of counteracted the poppy, like fun piece of the song, because it sounds like it's just like a fun good time, but I'm really singing about being like completely numb and just like not able to feel anything anymore. So it's kind of a little bit of a, contradicting song, but I think that's why I like it and that's why it made the cut here.
I personally really like when artists have like very upbeat songs and then you really start to listen to it and you're just like, this is actually a very, very sad song.
Right. You're like,
Um,
is she okay?
yeah, right. But like
Right.
again, it's going back to like, you know, being vulnerable and being authentic. And it's great to hear like very upbeat songs, but at the same time, like not everyone is just having a grand old time. Like there's
Right.
bad things in the world
Right.
and in our lives that we like are struggling with.
Yeah.
So outside of singing, and I know you mentioned that you'll like write songs for other people, I also saw that you have done work as a music video director.
Oh yeah.
So have you directed the music videos that you've released with your singles?
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. So the first one, Stay Where You Are, I brought a good friend of mine in, Maddie Talius, to help me DP because I cannot film myself.
Yeah.
So, they were very instrumental in helping me out with that one. But then from that one on, Messy and Rain Cloud. And then there's a third one called Julia that is not out yet.
Mhm.
I had my sister Sam and my good friend Devin help me film it. Again, I wish I could film myself. I cannot. However, I was able to edit all of them and
Yeah.
just direct from in front, just to be like, okay, Sam, you go in front of the camera. Let me see. Okay, I like this. Okay, swap back in. So we just tag teamed basically all the videos. And the three that I did with my family were all in my childhood home. So that's again
Nice.
the nostalgia of the record and growing up and, you know, kind of going from a child to teen to young adult to adult.
Mhm.
Like, everyone goes through that moment where your childhood is kind of over. And I think that's like the thorough line to this whole thing. So that's why I decided to shoot most of these there.
What is the importance for you to have creative design over like the visuals that are accompanying? So I know, you know, you just talked about kind of the importance of having it in your childhood home and like what that means to you and what that brings to the song. But in terms of maybe the ones that you aren't doing in your childhood home, why is it important? I mean, I imagine it's a lot more work to also try and like direct your own music videos. So
For sure, but I mean it's definitely something where I feel like the visuals are just as important as the songs and the lyrical content. So for me as a visual person that has worked with video, I don't know that I could really ever give up my creative control to anyone.
yeah.
Especially not for this record. I mean, this record has been like everything is me. This is for me. I will be doing everything and anything, and then no collaboration. Like I very much was sticking to that. But after this record, my mentality is to kind of open that door for collaboration, whether it is writing or filming videos or whatever. I think like I kind of just needed this one to be like, this is my first solo album. This is me by myself in every form. The visuals will be as authentic as they can be to me and my experience, as long as I'm the one at the helm for everything for this record.
I mean, that totally makes sense if this is like your first you know, project as a solo artist and it was
Right.
very personal, like everything that you were going through that you put into this album, that completely makes sense that you want to maintain that control. Um,
Right. Right. I mean, my Rain Cloud music video is my childhood bedroom, and I wanted to immortalize that in a video for eternity for my grandkids to watch and say, "Oh yeah, this was my room. Like this was the house that we were in." And that's kind of why I wanted to take advantage as much as I could before, my parents sell the house, and then it's no longer, that's it. It was just a memory, and now I have it forever. So
when I was looking through your videos, I noticed in the comments that like so many of your fans from your previous projects are excited that you're back. So how does that sort of like welcome back feel for you, given, you had a multi-year hiatus?
I mean, it feels amazing. Obviously, it can get me like a little emotional because it's easy to have kind of like imposter syndrome and feel like nobody cares anyway. Why should I put this stuff out there, you know? And
Mhm.
then when you're greeted with like kind of this like resounding, like, we've been waiting for you, response, it's super humbling and it's incredible. And somebody, a fan actually got a tattoo of "Stay Where You Are," in my handwriting on them. And
Um,
it's just like, how do you, I don't even know how to react to that. It's unbelievable. It's one of the most amazing feelings that you could feel. So again, that's what I mean. Like my words have done something for somebody, and that's incredible.
As you prepare to release your EP, I know you mentioned Julia.
Julia, yeah.
Is that a release that will be coming before the EP, or do we have to wait until the EP?
I think it's safe to say it's coming before. Yeah, I think that will be the next single, and then the record soon to follow. So,
Ooh,
yeah,
exciting.
very exciting. I think Julia is going to be a really nice round out musically. It's heavier, but
Mhm.
it's also, it was a poem. So it's kind of a little less structured than everything else. It's just kind of me rambling the whole song, except with a lot of like really pretty ethereal guitars and like a really heavy uh ending. So it's just kind of like all crescendo to this big moment, and I'm just really excited for people to hear it.
Are you preparing for a tour at all? I know obviously you're in the middle of project release, and I'm sure there's a lot that goes into it that I'm not thinking of, but kind of given like your background and maybe like the excitement from the fans, is that something that people can
I
expect?
mean, yeah, I'm very, very like nervous, I guess, a little bit to go
Mm.
play shows, but I think it's part of this for me in this chapter is kind of just pushing through that and going to see what happens. So yeah, I think it's definitely like on the table. There's nothing really on the books just yet, but I will for sure in the future, I think, be ready to do that. If I get an opportunity, I'm not going to say no. Just wanting to release more and more music so I can feel like, people connect to it, and that there would potentially be some people at these shows if I do play them.
So, final question, is there anything else you would like to share with us today?
I mean, we covered a lot. So I think really just that I'm excited to get this out there and to see which songs from the record people connect with, and what what their favorites are, because it's so funny when you're writing and you're releasing stuff like this song really means something to me, but then someone else comes out of left field like, oh well, this one is my favorite, and I would be like, wow, I would never have picked that one, but cool that you connected with it. So I think just that dialogue and that conversation to just see who likes what from
Mhm.
the record is something I'm definitely looking forward to. So I can't wait for it to be out and to just finally be back out there 100%.
I think it's safe to say, just from, the fan response, the excitement that like your fans have that you're back. I think it's safe to say that like people are also excited for the record, and like you said, seeing what resonates with people, because and things might resonate with people in different times as well. Someone might be going through a really rough time and really connect with one song, and then they're in a better place and they connect with a different song. And I think that's kind of the beauty of being authentic in your songwriting, and
Yeah.
not having necessarily an end goal in mind. It could surprise you.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. It's just like I said, here's the music, as I go through life and as I write music, this is where I just like, I want to just release it into the world one by one. Like we said,
Mhm.
if it works, it works. If it doesn't, I don't care. It's not for you. It's for me. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's kind of the mentality that just is helping me so much during this time period. So I'm hoping to just keep that going and remember at the end of the day that music is therapy for me and for others, and that's why we do this. All right, let's
Awesome.
go.
Well, hey, I think that's an amazing note to end on. So,
Yes,
thank you so much for your time and your flexibility on this. And
absolutely.
totally looking forward to when your album comes out. Looking forward to Julia when it comes out.
Yes.
Can't wait to see. Are you releasing music videos for everything?
I'm not sure yet. There's definitely a handful where I'm like this one, and this one too.
Mhm.
But like I think it could snowball into me being like, fine, every one of them. I don't know. The opportunities are endless, considering that like I'm the one doing them.
Yeah.
So there will definitely be a fair amount more though, for sure.
Okay. Very cool. Very
Yeah.
cool. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for your time today, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your Wednesday and the rest of your week.
Thank you. You as well.
All right, thanks. Have a good one.
All right. Bye bye.